Okay, there we go. Thank you, Core Bob. No audio, grant pass remembrance. Thank you, thank you. Just saw the chat message. I'm trying to get used to back to StreamYard. But what I was gonna say, let's just recap what I was saying since y'all didn't hear it. We're gonna start a new project, and we're gonna be using RedwoodJS, which is a full stack framework written in JavaScript, uses React, TypeScript or JavaScript in case you don't like TypeScript. And we use GraphQL, Prisma for the ORM, and also it also comes pre-scaffold with Jest for testing, Storybook for visual components, and it has a couple other configurations too, because you can deploy it as using serverless if you know what that is. If you don't know what that is, you can deploy it other ways, but there's a lot of documentation involved. It's a growing community, and over here at Zeal, we are 100% interested in building with it, so much so that we're building tooling for RedwoodJS. And Redwood template is the thing we are building out. We are trying to make it really easy to build with RedwoodJS, that we're making an opinionated template to create your RedwoodJS project and just get up and running. So I myself haven't been involved with building out the RedwoodJS template, but I do want to build stuff. So we're going to try building something with RedwoodJS template and see how it goes. And because I always love building Twitch integrations, we're going to try to build out build out something really simple with that integrates Twitch. I'm thinking we'll just build out, I'm thinking we can try to recreate the project I was originally trying to work on, which was a Pomodoro application. But let's try building it in RedwoodJS, because I already know all the ideas I want to do with that Pomodoro application. And let's just translate it to RedwoodJS, all the ideas that we have, and see where we go, because it's going to integrate a bunch of different stuff that I have no clue how we're going to build yet. So this is going to be a journey of learning, because I don't know how to build everything. I know all the basics of RedwoodJS. I haven't built anything for production. So let's have some fun and trying to build something. But hopefully you're doing well. Thank you, Grants Past Remembrance, Core Bob, Trevor. Hopefully you're having a great Friday. And if you have anything cool to talk about, feel free to share it in the chat. All right, so let's get into it. So the Redwood template app, let me just go ahead and throw this into the chat. If you're kind of curious about taking a look at it, is a template. So GitHub has a template feature, so you can build out projects that are already template. So then if you want to use this foundational template to build out your application, there's a nice button to click. I'm not sure if it's going to be a blue button depending on your color preferences. I'm red-green colorblind, so I have more color preferences for red-green colorblind. But yeah, there's going to be a button for use this template. And we click that. So let's go ahead and we'll move this over to the Coding Zeal organization. Make this public. And let's call this Redwood Pomodoro app. Let's do all lowercase just because I'll just make it easier for command line function. Okay, so let's include all branches now. We're just going to do the main branch. So let's create this repository. I'm digging this background music that StreamYard has included. It's just one song on a loop, but that's okay. Okay, so we've officially created our Redwood Pomodoro app, and here it is generated from the template. So we officially have our project created. Now we need to go ahead and pull down this project so we can start building with it. So let's go ahead and try doing that. So let's go in and let's do local. We're not going to do a GitHub code space. We're going to try to develop everything locally. GitHub CLI, because GitHub CLI is very, very cool. If you haven't tried the GitHub CLI, it has like a lot of cool things to, easily clone and interact with GitHub and issues and releases and all type of stuff. So highly recommend giving it a try. It's not a replacement for standard Git, for doing Git interactions like committing and stuff like that, but it makes it really easy to manage your GitHub repository using the GitHub CLI. It looks like we're behind a little bit, but I'll worry about updating that later. So we've checked out the project. So let's navigate over to that project. Redwood Pomodoro app. Cool. And let's just see how things are in here. All right, so we have our application up. Let's go ahead and open this up in my editor. How's it going, i7? Hopefully you've had a great week. All right, so we've officially opened this up. And let's see. So again, we are naive about this project, so we need to dive in. So this template application establishes common patterns for cutting your app quickly. The following list of framework utilities libraries that have been added to the template. So this is pre-configured with PostgreSQL, Docker, Tailwind, features. Features a list of features this template has for the application. Okay. So development setup. So we'll need Node. Windows setup. So we have Yarn already installed. Core bomb only commit that may be solved by me actually investigating. The GitHub is that the GH repo adds an upstream that only tracks the main branch. Ideally for me, it should track all of them. Once I often need to actually push the upstream when doing the release and such. Oh, interesting. I wonder if you can just modify that after. But that's an interesting one. I think the CLI tool is open source. So I wonder if you can if you haven't already, I wonder if you can bring it up as an issue to have it as like a configuration for when you're doing the clone. Okay. So let's start with this quick start guide. So we should be doing yarn install. And then the next step wants us to copy the env to the example env to the .env. So we have example configuration with session, admin stuff. So let's go ahead and do that step next after this is done. But to answer your question, I am doing great. It's great to be back, especially after going to ElixirConf. You miss me? Don't lie. Yeah, so the yarn install is going to take a while because we're dealing with NPM stuff, but it's the first run, so it's installing all this different stuff. And since RedwoodJS comes pre-scaffolded with a lot of great stuff, it's going to take a while. but I'm Goosey Smoothie. What do y'all, while this runs, what are y'all looking forward to this weekend? I'm just looking to relax a little, but I need to get back to practicing the saxophone. I haven't practiced the saxophone for like a month minimum because I got so involved prepping for Elixir Comp that I spent all my free time working on my slides, reworking my slides, gaming and coding, Satisfactory. I was playing a lot of No Man's Sky earlier, and then I switched over, but I need to get back to playing No Man's Sky. The thing, I have a Steam Deck, and my Steam Deck runs No Man's Sky, so that's why I was able to play a lot of No Man's Sky, because I can sit down and just play the game. Okay, so the yarn install finished. Let's go ahead and run the copy for the environment. And then start your dev server and database. Your browser should automatically open this first. I feel like the DB setup should go before. Wait, so it wants us to launch this, but it wants us to do this. I know you could run the dev before the DB setup, but I feel like part of me feels like just run the DB setup before you actually run the app. It's a little bit more satisfying to have everything configured and then run the app. You need to do some co-op sometime. Uh-oh, let's see what's going on here. Because let's see, yarn dev, let's see what happens. Let's see what yarn dev does, because that command didn't work. So yarn dev runs db daemon. So db daemon runs, because it's running Docker Compose. I see. Port's already taken. And that's because I have a separate running service that I need to close down. Give me a second here. I forgot to take down my other database that I had running for work. Nice, there's already an issue. There we go. Upvote that. So one thing I will already point out is that our development setup doesn't actually call out that you need Docker installed. This has a hard dependency on Docker. We're doing a Docker Compose up. Nowhere on here do I see any reference to the existence of Docker or the requirement of Docker. So that's already one thing. So let's update a little notepad here for reference for that, because we're not actually calling out that we need Docker. And this is why we need a dog food our own products, right? If you're going to build something out, especially for a company that you're going to be sharing out with other people, is that we should make sure that, things make sense for the new user. So, also include Docker as requirement. Written down. So I assume this is running. This is kind of weird. I'm not sure exactly what's going on yet. Whoops, wrong port. So nothing yet. We're still stuck on container Redwood starting. So we said dev db daemon, and then it does this. It runs it as detached. So let's end this. Let's double check. Docker compose. Is it ls? I'm already, oh, I didn't even spell Docker correctly. Let's just make sure Docker compose down. Problem is that it's 18 months old and there's not much on it from the actual GitHub people. Didn't provide any. Oh my God. Not good, not good. All right, let's try this again. Yarn dev. Just like last time, it's stuck around this step. All right, let's end it. What happens if we manually do this? So yarn up dash d db. So it could be a Docker issue because it's still stuck here. So when all else fails, what we do is let's restart Docker. Reposition this. When all else fails, we will restart Docker, start fresh. As you know, I can be doing weird stuff because, you know, I use this for active development all the time. So we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We will restart everything and see how things go. And I'm just waiting for the little whale icon to stop building out the little containers on top of it. And that's how we'll know when it's done. One thing while this is happening that I saw on the internetverse is, as you know, as some might know, I really love dev containers. And it looks like the GitHub team or the dev container team set it up to make it way easier to configure your development containers and add on additional stuff to the container. I made a tweet about it that I am really, really interested in. that. Go back over here. All right. So while Rearn dev runs and we see what happens. So yeah, custom dev containers. I just skimmed this real quick, but they added a way for you to specify the main container and then to add on features. So you can add on container features to do more. So instead of like having to build out the actual Docker image, you can do these kind of like feature add-ons to add in languages and stuff like that. So it's more composable, which is really cool, because one of the things I want to do is I want to try to create a dev container that's basically a big dev container that contains like already built-in stuff for Ruby, for Elixir, for Node, basically all the different languages I work with and all the dependencies in there. So I have one dev container to just spin off of to do development. And by extension, by having one dev container that I can spin off of, I kind of want to have a master GitHub code space development area. So instead of like having a GitHub code space for each project, I want to have just one central GitHub code space that I have all my projects in and just develop out of that GitHub code space. See, like features, Node and Java. So I want to play with this. I want to see how this works, and I might and maybe make some content around that. But let's see. Okay, so this started. Driver failed programmatically connectivity endpoint. Failed port is already allocated. What? All right, let's see. Yeah, this is running. I'm not sure why this started up running again when it shouldn't have. So that explains that. Another apps DB started up. No bueno. Which is weird because we restarted Docker. So I'm not sure why that went ahead and just like started itself up. So yeah, if anyone's curious about that new feature for dev containers, here you go. Here's the article that was just released today, straight off of, I guess yesterday, technically yesterday. It was tweeted about today. It's fresh off of the internet presses. Get rid of some of these. All right, let me check Docker again. Shit. Oop, I mean, no, it's running again. Look, it's running. No, stop. Stop. I think it's stopping. It says exited. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work now. Like I said, I'm gonna chalk it up to these Docker stuff, to my own stuff, to my own feature stuff, because, you know, I do lots of development. Okay, so it looks like it started. I can see on the dashboard that it started. So now I should actually do the other database stuff. And it did start. It opened up in a separate browser, my default browser. Not this browser over here. There we go. Redwood template. Woohoo! Excuse me. Just slowly dying, apparently. Okay. We got out of that weirdness. Next, we run yarndb setup to scaffold our database. Let's make sure that runs. Excellent. So it looks like it generated the present database. Nice. We have testing notes, data migration notes. The pipeline does not can take a few minutes and may not reflect. So the Heroku deployment stuff is, I think we're going to be nixing the Heroku deployment stuff because unfortunately Heroku doesn't have a free tier anymore. So rip that. Rip-a-roni on that. All right, looks like all the migrations are done and everything's running. So the app, we shouldn't see too much of a difference on the app. We have our home page. Let's see. So /admin. There was like a reference to admin. Forbidden. So log in. Okay. So how do we log in? Sorry, I got a message in Slack, so I was checking that. All right, let's see. Seed data. Looks like our seed data is this. Let's see if we can actually log in with that seed data. Yeah, looks like we can. Another thing to call out in the guide. So what we're missing here is so we need to explain the seed data with user credentials. Because I had to go and look that up. Another thing that's missing. Nope. So users And it looks like we have several users in here, actually, which is interesting. Yeah, so this goes through and randomly picks a user. Randomly generates users. Okay. Other than myself. And then we already have permissions on here if they're an admin or not, if they're active. We have teams. So we can specify if someone belongs to a team. Roles. We can specify roles. Cool. And then here we can add a new user to a team. Cool. That's another thing. So I need to explain the current features and models. I wrote that out horribly on my piece of paper. Okay. So we scaffolded this up. We already have the concept of users in here. And then our schema should be under API right here. So we can see our schema right here. We have roles, memberships, teams, users. And this is already connecting to our Postgres database. For our web side of things, looks like we have some work going in for Playwright, and we are using TypeScript for everything. All right, so our project is set up with basic user functionality. We can log in and stuff like that. That's cool. Now, let's get, and we haven't made any commits yet. This is everything that's already built with it. So now let's get into features and stuff like that we want to build out. So let's start thinking about this. So this is our Pomodoro app. What we'll do is let's go ahead and create a project board. And add a project. Create a new project board. Oh, I see. So we would go to organization to add a project board. Interesting. All right, well, for now, I won't go that far yet. And what we'll do is we'll just create issues, because our project board is going to be dedicated to the issues anyway. Oh, look, we already have feature template stories. So under description, so the first thing we want to do is, so since this is gonna be a Twitch integrated Pomodoro website, the very first thing we need to do to look into is log in with Twitch. So in order to, why this feature is, log in. In order to log in, as a Twitch user, I need to, we're just going to follow this template. I need to be able button to connect my Twitch account. Acceptance criteria. So, so on the login page, have a button with Twitch. So you will then be taken to a page. You will then be put into the OAuth flow. Twitch. And if you don't have an account yet, it will auto create one for you. Do you already have an account? We'll log you into that account. Design implementation. We're developers. We don't design. And that's it. Login with Twitch is our very first issue that we're going to work on. So I'm not sure how far we're going to get today on being able to log in with Twitch, but let's already try to look at the research necessary to potentially doing that. Actually, we'll keep the schema, the Prisma schema open. And let's go over to the RedwoodJS docs. So logging in with Twitch is an OAuth process. So it will require us to register an application, to use an OAuth library to be able to exchange tokens on there. So now, I am curious about RedwoodJS's documentation on authentication. Self-hosted, Azure, Clerk, Custom, Firebase. The following command line will install required package to generate boilerplate code for Auth0. So Auth0 is a login, is authentication provider. But we're gonna want to just roll our own. So let's see about custom. The following CLI command not implemented. We'll install required packages for boilerplate. Let's look at what our login flow looks like right now. So we have memberships and stuff like that. So what we're gonna need to do, so the way OAuth works, and this is pretty universal to everything. But let's see what the official Twitch documentation says about the auth flow. So what we're gonna want to do is, let's see, it doesn't display here implicit. We're going to want a user access token, not an app access token. So yeah, we're going to want to direct them to connect with Twitch. And then we're gonna tell the app that there's a callback URL that they need to redirect back to. And then when we get redirected back to that, we get a code along with the scopes that are given, and then we use that code to get our access token, which then we store locally. The fun part about this is I have no clue how we're going to do this in Redwood. So that's going to be a lot of experimentation to get this, because we need to be able to handle a request back from our server. I'm pretty sure some of these have their own callbacks. Let's see. So refresh tokens. When using login, logout options. Redirect. Yeah, so this is doing a redirect. And then with the redirect too. What I am curious about is the callback, the defining the controller endpoint to do our stuff. Since I had previously built out a Pomodoro application already, I should already have one here that we can use. I just have to generate a new key and specify a new callback URL once we get to that point. Let's see. Background, custom functions. Part of me is tempted to just run custom. It's possible your own custom provider. Because here is the auth function. And I believe this is the request. So that people can authenticate in. So let's see, can we look at routes real quick? Let's see, routes. So those are our UI routes to go to like the login page. Our login page is this. is a built-in from the, is dynamically built for the UI. So not under admin pages. Here we go. Login page. So now under the login page, on submit, we trigger login, which uses the use auth hook. Now I'm kind of curious. So let's log out. Let's log in. What was it again? It was admin@example.com password. And let's check our network traffic. Because if you're never sure, network traffic up. So yeah, we're calling the auth function on Redwood, the auth endpoint on Redwood. And then our payload is that information. Yeah, and that maps to this right here where we call auth, where this is calling, we're doing a request to auth. And then this will then execute our auth logic. Under functions. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at lib. Here we go. So we got this coming in. So this is structured. This is structured like a serverless function because it's designed to be deployed serverless if you want it to be. So the request comes in and it goes in through here, and then it will handle them being logged in. So it goes through here. It detects what we're trying to do. Auth handler invoke. So then this gets called. And then it's using the DB auth handler. But we're trying to go with custom. So I've looked enough. Let's figure this out. Let's see. Yeah, Firebase does its own thing. Oh, interesting. Oh no, that's still Firebase though. Yeah, so we're using DB auth here, which is what the example has scaffolded for. What I need to be able to do is handle custom a callback request coming in. Let's see. There's a new biometric stuff that they talked about. Before I try to not reinvent the wheel, but try to do a whole other wheel of stuff, I want to look at if other people called out generating stuff for OAuth. So someone tried to do it with Netlify. Technically will be possible. This was back in July. Add support for OIDC public type and RedwoodJS auth. This is probably work with the DB auth to add third-party connection with Google. I'm not sure. I found this lib interesting to add OIDC client. Custom access token verified an API. Ooh, a custom. Okay, so someone worked on a custom implementation. Figuring out how to combine RedwoodJS with social auth from GitLab. I've decided to clean up the version and post it online. It'd be need to have it reviewed, obviously. So it's been a while and no one really responded back, which is funny. Looks like someone else commented on something. Oh, okay. So it looks like we're going to be we are working on a greenfield. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're kind of greenfielding this workflow with our app. So let's see. So there's the migration. Let's take a look at what happens with the auth. So all of this is Okay, so this is all vanilla, like implementation to get so that's fetching the user data and setting and creating the user. So if the user doesn't exist, we create the user. Yup. And then we're updating the context to have the current user in it. And then GitLab. So this returns back an object. And then a custom GitLab auth. Deployment configuration. Getting the GitLab auth. Oh man. This is just presentational stuff right here. Okay. All this other stuff is just other scaffold information. What matters is the backend stuff, not the web stuff as much. Okay, so the part that I'm thinking about is this part right here. I wonder if we can delegate this out to an npm package that helps manage npmjs.org. Okay, .com still works fine. I wonder if there's like an OAuth package we can leverage that handles some of this business logic. So we have passport strategies, we have Torpal auth. I'm familiar with passport. Because I think I was involved with making one. Or updating one. Let's take a look at this. This authentication. No, this is not going to do it for us because this is app token stuff. Yeah, so Torpal's not going to do it for us. 2 years old. I mean, OAuth hasn't really changed all that much, so 2 years old isn't that bad. Authorization code flow. be nice if we can have Passport support, but I don't think so, because Passport is its own thing altogether on how authentication occurs. Yeah. So let's make a note of this on our ticket. Because this is gonna be a multi-day effort to try to do this. Because OAuth is not something. As you can flow, currently have my front and back end working. So it looks like this is 14 days ago. So this is cool. Okay, this is a good start. This is actually a really good start. This is actually a really good example that we can start off next time. Cool. Because this is recent and it has the Redwood team commenting on it. Very nice. Very, very nice. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Use Google login. Yeah, cool. This will, we can work with this. We can work with this. Very cool. All right. I think that's it for us today. We'll already over. Yes, I7 already over. We have our goal of what to do, the login. We have some information going on. We have some nice back and forth in this community update. 20 hours goes the latest. And we have an example repo we can use for that to take a look at how to do this for Twitch. So we have stuff for next Friday. Very good, very good. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. It is Friday after all, and a great weekend. I will catch you on the next stream. So until next time, folks, hope you all stay happy, stay healthy, and have a good weekend. All right? So I'll catch you later. See ya.